Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspire View series. My name is Cherrise Boucher, and I'm a transformational life mentor. Welcome to this series. If you haven't been here before, I'd like to tell you a little bit about it. I felt inspired to put it together because I feel it's so massively important for every single person out there to incorporate something that they're passionate about into their lives. Because when you weave something into your life that lights you up and excites you, your soul thanks you for listening. And you'll find that stress is reduced, communication improves, relationships improve, and you sense an overall improvement in your well-being. The inspiring people that I'm going to introduce to you in this series are just like you. They've overcome obstacles, they've experienced life in all its aspects, and they've incorporated their passions into their lives. They'll share some insights and tips that they've found most useful to them throughout their lives that have helped to get them where they are now. And I'm so glad you're joining us on this journey to nurture the spark that feeds the fire of your passion. Today, I am excited to introduce you to a corporate IT gal turned corporate trainer, motivational speaker, and mentor in managing stress and creating more success in people's lives. Her unique approach integrates the multiple areas of our human experience, body, mind, and spirit, and always includes humor. By combining time-tested tools and strategies with this holistic integrated approach, her clients create and sustain lasting, profound results faster and with more joy and ease. Seeing the keen yearning of parents, grandparents, teachers, and coaches for tools and strategies to support children of all ages, this amazing woman was the midwife of the Raising Conscious Kids platform, which is a global movement to provide inspiration, information, support, and a sense of fun as we expand our collective consciousness and consider new ways in which we parent, educate, and coach our next generation. I'd like to welcome Kim Primatic to the series. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Cherrise. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, and thank you so much for having me on this amazing Inspire View series.
Well, I'm so glad to have you here and to have you share. So let's jump right in and get started. Can you tell us a bit about your journey that led you to becoming a mentor around raising conscious kids?
Sure, I would like you. How much time do we have?
We have about 30 minutes, but so talk fast. No.
How far back should I start? I was born on a Friday. Right. Too far? Too far. Okay.
Too far. Fast forward a little bit.
Okay. So I, like you said in the intro, my background is corporate IT. So my bachelor's, I went to college. My bachelor's was in computers and information systems, and I did that. I was in the corporate world back when it was so amazing. I mean, you could just jump from job to job and make more money and get bonuses, and it was awesome. It's a good time to be in IT back in like the 90s, 80s, and 90s. And then I had my children. I got married, had my daughter, and I thought, I just don't want to be responsible for anybody's multi-billion-dollar logistics system anymore. Don't get me wrong, the money was great, but at the time, I didn't realize the amount of stress that having that responsibility was having on, my body, my relationships, those kind of things. And so my husband and I arranged it so that, if needed, if I wanted to, if we chose that path, that I could stay home at least for a little bit to raise our kids. So that was such a blessing, and I'm so glad in hindsight. It's so fun to think about. Thanks for this question, Cherrise. It's so fun to think about, like how you got to where you are. So we arranged it that way, and during that time, I went part-time when my daughter was small, and then I had my own spiritual awakening. And to keep it short, I met my mentor, my teacher, and my life just changed. And that's what happened for me, and I saw, but it was good, and the other side of it was I realized as parents how much, not control, how much impact, how much our thoughts, our emotions, let alone like what we're feeding our kids and what we're saying to our kids, how much everything forms the conditioning of these little tiny babies that have been entrusted to us, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so that was really eye-opening for me. And I decided to, you know, for me, I'm a lifelong seeker the way it is. You know, I think I'm a teacher because I'm a student. You know, I'm always a student, and so I'm always teaching. And even from when I was a kid, you know, thinking back. So when I had my daughter and I realized that this whole concept of conditioning, because remember, my background was IT, so I was studying very different things in school. And nowadays, I notice with my daughter, their classes are much different. She's graduating high school this year. So their classes are very different, and they do include a lot of different things that we just didn't have when I went to school. And I went to a good school, but just the level of thinking was not the same. You know, they really are trying to evolve more of an integrated approach, and I appreciate that about our schools today. So what I did was I started like gangbusters, like, okay, I need to figure out, I need to learn, I need to be like a sponge, because really the studies show, and you know, that it's kind of the time frame is from pre-birth to age 8 are when the conditioning actually happens. So I was like, okay, she's 18 months old, just found my mentor here. I need to really figure this out for the good of my daughter and any, you know, we wanted to have 2 children, and thankfully we do. So that's what happened for me. So I started really learning and studying and going to classes and reading the books. I did it all. On managing stress, on raising kids, on the best things, and that became my quest in addition to my daughter. So when I did decide to have our, you know, we decided to have a second child, and I stopped working altogether, and that was a leap of faith. Because, you know, I come from, you know, my dad's very conservative. He was an auditor, you know, accountant, very left brain, you know. And so I had my whole life kind of planned out for me. You know, we're going to get married, wait 5 kids, have our first daughter. You know, it was very black and white. And then you as a parent, there's no black and white. You're like
No.
making decisions on the fly and figuring it all out and doing your best. And some nights going to bed like, oh, how did that happen? How did those words come out of my mouth? Like, you can't take them back. You know, you can't take those back. And so when I realized, you know, that all my conditioning, good and bad, came from mostly, you know, your childhood, from your family, from those experiences, that's when I realized that, you know, I needed to really do my best, because, you know, that's what I wanted to do. So in the midst of all that, I decided to do the training, and I became a corporate trainer. So my specialty was managing stress with humor, and then really it evolved. I started doing that in 2000, and I want to say around 2004. And so my specialties were managing stress with humor. So I would go into organizations and help them. And it was the best was when I was with an IT group and they didn't realize that my background was IT. Like, well, you don't understand how stressful it is. And I like, in my day, we had to lug around a dumb terminal with us and be on call 24/7. So yes, I do understand.
Oh,
so then it was a whole new level of that, and that's how I'm hearing a noise. Do you hear that noise?
I do.
Okay, should we stop?
No.
Okay, let's keep going then. Got to roll with the punches.
That's right.
Resiliency, that's another one too. But here, let me check something on my computer. I apologize. Let me see if I could close something down here. This is the life of the moms. Okay, I think I fixed it. I apologize for that.
No problem.
Okay, that's the way it goes, right?
That's right. That's right.
So that's how my training, my corporate training started. It really evolved from my desire to find these strategies and tips and stuff to manage my own life. It's still making noise. I apologize. I guess that I don't know who that is. Well, is it very noticeable?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. So that's how it happened for me, is taking that leap of faith, but knowing in my heart, like my soul was just lit up when I studied with these amazing teachers. I went around the country, studying with amazing teachers, and that's when my coaching started, because I met a coach, and then I said, wow, this is the next step, because I would see people in corporate training, and we'd have amazing interaction for an hour, and then I would be like, I wish I could follow up with them. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I know that I can help them even more. And so that's how my journey into coaching just evolved kind of organically, and such a blessing. When you talk about doing things that you love, it's such a blessing to just allow, but it's a leap of faith. Like for me, the left brain, everything's planned out kind of thing, it was truly a leap of faith for me. And the Raising Conscious Kids was born when I took a huge leap of faith and started working with an online business mentor. And so I was doing all these things in person and putting all these miles on my car, and I loved it. But it was, I'm traveling to Manhattan, I'm traveling to all around in New Jersey, northern New Jersey, down to Atlantic City, like all over Pennsylvania, Delaware, and it was all in person, which I loved. But then with the internet growing, like here we are face to face,
Right.
So, but I didn't know that world. So I said, well, and it just kind of, again, like, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and I was able to, just like serendipity, met this coach who's an amazing coach who really mentored me to do my first telesummit, and which, as I'm a prayer, and I said, okay, I want to serve. Who do I want to serve the most? And I kind of looked back at all my trainings in person, and I said, I was getting clear signs. The most packed seminars, and just actually like right before that happened, of course, there's always a plan, right? Right before that happened, I was at a large, huge multinational corporation headquartered in Manhattan. And I was doing one of my, Raising Healthy Eaters seminars, like, I've done it many, many times. And so sometimes I would know how many people would be attending the seminar, and sometimes I wouldn't. So I get to the place, and the HR person's bringing me in, and it's the biggest conference room. And they said, oh, it's going to be standing room only.
Oh my gosh.
What? Okay. So I went into the bathroom like I always do. Me and Liz Gilbert, she always has her aha moments in the bathroom, she says. The author of Eat, Pray, Love. Yeah, she's awesome. So I went into the bathroom, and I just grounded myself, and I said, okay, let me be a vessel, let me serve these people. And it was standing room only and live streamed to all their satellites around the world.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing. And that's really how the universe like declared to me, like, hello, Kim, like, here's your path. Here's your path. We're lighting up the runway. Everything's all clear. It's all lit up, and all I had to do was kind of like get into that lane, and Raising Conscious Kids was born.
Wow, that's a great story. So have you ever felt afraid or doubtful about your career? Because it seems like it really took off and everything was in alignment. But I know that most people actually have those doubts and fears where you feel like throwing in the towel or ditching the dream. And if you have had those feelings, how did you get through that? What tips could you suggest to other people who might experience that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, who hasn't? I think anybody who says, oh, no, I would beg to differ. But that's a great question, Cherrise, because I think that'll be helpful for folks. So, yeah, I'd be happy to share that with you. I'll pick a couple of the main areas, because there's been more than a few. I've been doing this for a bunch of years now. When you work for a company, you're salaried. most people, I was on salary, unless
Mm-hmm.
you work straight commission, and that's a different kind of breed anyway. But I was raised very traditional, like, I was going to go get a 4-year degree. And then I went and got my master's, and so it was very much that salary mindset. It
Mm-hmm.
was not about being an entrepreneur. It was not about that at all. And so I think to have that entrepreneur mindset is much different, and that needs to be cultivated. And there are skills like, like even this Google Hangout making noise. I don't know why it's doing that, and I apologize, but it's not anymore. So, woo-hoo. There are skills that we all need to learn, and that's why for me, having a mentor was a necessity. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, and then I studied and became, now I'm a certified master coach as well, because people need people, unless
Yeah.
you've charted this course before. Most of us, I would say 9 out of 10 folks could benefit from that mentorship. So for me, when I would be falling off track a little, or, the fears, the doubts, the worry, it all comes up,
Right.
and I don't care what money bracket you're at. Who was I listening to? And they said, when you're talking about somebody who's, it was Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, and it was the guy with the fashion empire. I met him at Dr. Oz's gala. It'll come to me. But he was married to Russell Simmons.
Okay.
Okay, so he's like a guru as well, but he started a rapper label, and he's known for fashion. And he's really, really, really wealthy. And he was on Super Soul Sunday talking to Oprah, and he said, there's a spectrum. He's very much into meditation. He just wrote a new book, and he said, there are the people with no money, and they think money's going to be the answer. More money's going to be the answer. And there are people with a lot of money, and they think more money's going to be the answer. More money's going to be the answer. And there are the people in the middle, and he said, he feels like, and he's been at both ends. So, I'll listen to someone like that because they have that experience,
Exactly.
And he said the people in the middle kind of aren't looking to hang their hat on the money, and they aren't, that's not their meaning of their life. You know what I mean? So I think that's wise as well,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. So you talked a little bit about taking a leap of faith and how you've done that. Do you have anything specific maybe that you'd like to share about taking a leap of faith? Because I know it can be scary. I've experienced it myself, and I've done it, and there are great benefits to doing it, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But
Well,
it's frightening
yes.
sometimes.
I mean, Cherrise, isn't this whole Inspire View series, isn't that a leap of faith for you?
Yes, it absolutely. I had no idea. I had never been on a Google Hangout before in my life, and it just came to me to do this series, and so I did it. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it as a leap of faith, but I guess you're right. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's amazing, and I think what it is for me is it's listening to your soul.
Hmm.
I was so in my head my whole life. And that serves you. It served me well. I was doing really well. I was making great money. Um, and I remembered, I think we're sent messengers in our lives. And
Hmm.
if we take heed, they're like signposts. They give us the right direction to go. And one of my friends that I worked with in Philadelphia, Bob, his wife was a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. And when I first met her, I just thought, oh, she just seems so grounded. And I had no kids at the time, so I wasn't even engaged yet.
Hmm.
So my mindset was not there at all. And she said, I think they met at work. Yeah, they met at an insurance company outside Philadelphia. And she said, I'm just so happy. No, she said, I love my life. And I thought, oh, can I say that? And it's still, that was 20 years ago, and I still think of that. And at that time, I was like, wow, I really can't say that. If I really think about it, I was working like a dog, you know, working in Philadelphia. It was fun. I had friends, but really just working, for a salary, which was, nice. But those words always rang true to me is, am I happy? Like, can I say, I love my life?
Right.
So that's one thing. And listening, and if the answer is no, there's steps. This is just the present moment. This is where we go from. And then the other thing that I'll share with you is when I was working with my first coach ever, way back when, I was doing a program of hers, and she said, she has 2 daughters, and I have a daughter and a son, and she said, not the first week, this was a 10-week class, she said, okay, you're in this scenario, whatever it is, right? What would you want your daughter to do? That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
When you can really think of, well, if this was my daughter, and I was not coaching, but, parenting her,
right?
What would her best expression of herself be? And that was very powerful for me because our kids are watching us.
That's right.
They learn from what we do, who we are, who we're being, what risks are we taking, how empowered are we being in our lives. Much more than what we say. I mean, much more. There's no comparison. So those are the 2 things I think of.
Mm-hmm. That makes total sense. That's a good question, too, because I too, have a daughter. She's 16. So that is a good question. What would you want your daughter to do? And that is important. So you've obviously included living your passion in your life. And how have you found that affects your life on a personal level?
So when I think of life, my company, when I founded it way back in 2003, I guess, Primatic integration, integrating body, mind, and soul. And it's all integrated. So there's not one aspect that we can elevate that doesn't impact everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're looking at having a joyful day, like I do a weekly radio show, Raising Conscious Kids, and it fills my heart with joy. Like, it's just so wonderful. And so what does that do for me on a daily basis? I'm not saying every single task associated with the radio show is, I'm jumping up and down, the website part of it, it's okay. It's okay. But
Right.
by and large, most of the things that I'm doing, I just love. They light me up. I'm meeting such amazing people and really supporting folks because, parenting, I agree with Oprah, parenting is the toughest job on the planet.
Yeah.
It really is. So supporting people on a weekly basis, I've met such amazing people and had them on the show, and that's really, it brings joy to me when I hear about, someone listening to the show and someone, being served and being helped, and we tackle all the relevant topics, and it's weekly. So it's that weekly support for people in, like, January was all about New Year's resolutions and
Mm-hmm.
how to keep them, and so yes, my intention was to support people on a regular basis because, like I said, I had the corporate training, which was sporadic. Then I did a Raising Conscious Kids Telesummit, which was, a series that was over the course of a month. And we had Marianne Williamson on, and Sonia Choquette, and amazing speakers, Sharon Wilson, amazing speakers, Matthew Ferry. I don't want to leave anybody out, sorry. But that was a one-time deal, and so in my heart was born the radio, like,
Mm-hmm.
was born a more continual support, because, and it's for parents and teachers, And so that in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is who I'm going to support. But I'm being supported as well. As I'm, interviewing these people, as I'm, sometimes I'll do a show myself. March is nutrition, National Nutrition Month. Mm-hmm. So I'll be speaking. I have amazing health coaches, moms to be, like, all different kind of scenarios to really impact people. And then we have the archives too. So if somebody misses a show, they could go back. And we're just building this community of people who are, want to be inspired, who want the information, but also want inspiration. And that's always my thing. Like information without inspiration, like, put me to sleep. Don't put me to sleep. Don't put me to sleep. I'm not ready for that. I'll go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, people don't need more information, right? Like, I think we're all on information overload.
Yeah.
We need ways to apply it practically in a way that's going to be fun, and we're going to see, we want quick results. So that's what we do. Right. And so that's what a blessing it's been to me. I had no idea it was going to be this much fun and this much of a blessing to me. Right.
I find too, when I'm doing these interviews, that when I'm finished with one, I'm like on a high for the rest of the day. It's really it's fun and it's enlightening, and it like pumps you up, and it's exciting to know that you're sharing this with other people. That's how I feel about it. Yeah.
Exactly. 100%. 100%. So when I, my motto, because I think my husband coined it, it's hysterical. ABC, always be coaching. Like, I can't help it. Like, my son, both of our sons do baseball. And so when I'm at a game, like, there's always, people just are drawn to me. Like, there's always somebody sitting next to me, like, pouring out their life story. Mm-hmm. And then I'm kind of guiding them along. Like, it's just who I am, and I embrace that. Like, and if it's just so fun because, I've always just been interested in fine-tuning that aspect of really being able to look at somebody and have a short conversation and being able to identify what could really serve them, like what's a great next step for them. And it's just something that, it's just how it's in my DNA. And I'll never forget, I had a breakfast meeting. I belong to the local Chamber of Commerce. That's who my radio show is through, the Chamber of Commerce. Mm-hmm. And they have a radio station. And through the chamber, I met this contact, and she was lovely. And so, one of the things is you want to network. So we met for breakfast. And I swear to you, it wasn't 5 minutes into the conversation. And I looked at her and I said, "Are you a singer?" She goes, "What?" Turns out, way back when, she was really, really talented, and she's running her own business now, and she kind of lost that side of her, and but I could feel it. I could feel it in my bones, just in that short interaction. Like, it's like crying to be born, reborn, and so it's just so fun. That's the coaching, the mentoring part of it. And that's the radio show part of it. So, yeah, it's a far cry from my corporate IT days.
Yeah. It sounds like it. Do you have any tips or strategies that maybe you use most frequently that you'd like to share with people who are watching or listening to this series?
That's a great question, yeah. There's one main one that this is one of the foundation pieces that when people start working with me, one-on-one or even in a group, I highly recommend, and I did a whole show on it actually. Well, not a whole show, but I went into great detail. I think it was the first Wednesday in January, as we're talking about New Year's resolutions, either the first or second show. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is to start the day intentionally. And that's different for everybody. So it's not, I don't believe in a cookie cutter approach. I think that's why, like a movie or a book like The Secret, some people could take it and run with it and have it, success, but most people, you need that tailored, you need to tailor it to yourself. And so I would say whatever brings you whatever makes you grounded, helps you stay grounded, whatever sets your energetic pathway for the day, whatever helps you feel aligned. Like I said, I'm a prayer, I'm a meditator, but I wouldn't necessarily push that on everybody, because meditation to some people sounds like, I didn't start out as a meditator. I learned a different process from my first teacher that I told you about, which is much different than meditation, and I've taught that as well. It's called Night School, and it's a more active way of meditating and creating, because it's kind of getting into the mainstream that thought is creative and that our thoughts are creating our lives.
Right.
And as we become more empowered and more conscious, our kids know this. My son, when he was young, had a dream, and he was probably 3. And in his dream, he said, "Oh, Mommy, I had a dream. All I had to do was think of something, and it appeared."
Uh-huh.
I thought, "Oh, I wonder where you were." So those are my tips. Like, whatever you can do to start your day, take 5-10 minutes. That's all it takes. Read something inspirational. Do what it takes to be grounded. And certainly, if you have young kids, make sure you get up 10 minutes before they do. That's all you need is 10 minutes, and give that gift to yourself is what I would suggest.
Yeah, that's a good tip. That is a good tip, and it sets the stage for the day if you've done that, and then if you reflect on that at night, I think, to see what has shown up with the intention that you set for your day, to see how that worked, because I think if you take notes on that and journal it a little bit, you find that your intentions and where your thoughts go really do show up throughout your day. But you tend to not do that, because I've got to be honest, I really suck at writing stuff down. But if you do it, I know that your attention is drawn to that, and you actually do see that it works.
So let me ask you this: do you take a shower in the morning?
Yes.
So there you go. There's your time. That's all you need. That's all you need. So have that be your signpost of we talked about this with Dr. Paul Marciano. He's Harvard. No, he's the Yale-y. I had a Harvard gal too. He went to Yale. He has a PhD. He helps folks, and so I had him on in the beginning of the year talking about how to help people keep their New Year's resolutions, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's there's a psychological term for it that's eluding me at the moment. But the point is that you're connecting that. It's like a marker. So every time you get in the shower, like, you can even put a yellow Post-it there, like, I call it scripting the day. You know, call it whatever you want, but just put a little yellow Post-it, script the day.
Right, yeah.
Just make it easy and fun, right? Yeah. Life is supposed to be fun.
Right. Joyful. Probably if you throw something fun in there to see if it shows up for the day too, Like, I'm going to laugh hysterically over some little thing that happens during the day and see if it works out.
And it absolutely will, and the more you do it, the more it works.
Exactly. Well, how inspiring, Kim. I know you have a free gift for people who are watching this series, so could you tell me a little bit about that, and then I'll direct people where they can find it.
Excellent. Yes, I would love to. So I have a Raising Conscious Kids community that we just launched a few months ago, and that's all about folks that, for parents, teachers, caregivers, administration. Really, it's for everyone who cares about kids, who has, raising kids, teaching kids, whatever. And so you can find that. You're going to give the website. And so what it is you get all the shows. So you get all the show archives. So I have a nice picture of everybody and what the topic is and a little bit about it, so you can get an idea, so you can pick and choose. Well, I'm having a challenge, getting my kid to eat broccoli or whatever. Here's that. Okay, I'm going to listen to this. And the show is an hour, and I'm getting fancy. I'm actually editing out the commercials and stuff to streamline it even more, because that's what I would like. So I'm getting even fancier. And so, it's about providing the information and the tools to really support parents in this journey of raising our kids, because our kids are different. our kids, there's food sensitivities, there's all these sensitivities that are, now being diagnosed and stuff. There's just so many things. And, the demands at school are much more rigorous than they used to be. The dating scene is totally different. There's just so much more stress on our kids these days. There was a study out of Duke, I believe it was, and kids are just so stressed out. And I won't even repeat these kind of statistics, but they're staggering as far as kids who considered committing suicide. So we just, it's a real call to action, I believe, for parents to really do as much as we can to really support our kids, and really, just we all want to feel loved and, have loving families and great school systems. And so I had a school counselor on, and we talked about everything for high school and middle schoolers, the really things that he felt would be helpful. And I have helpful links for folks and how to talk to your kids about different areas and stuff. So it's all about supporting kids, and it's free. So it's my gift to you.
What a fantastic resource for everybody, really, because who doesn't interact with kids on some level at some point? Okay, so everybody can find the link to Kim's offer at the Passion Base at CherriseBoucher.com. And if you've signed up for the newsletter updates to the Inspire View series, you already have access to this. And if you've not, please do go to CherriseBoucher.com/InspireViews. It's a free membership where you can get access to information about each of the speakers and links to their free gifts. So thank you so much, Kim. This time together has sped by, as it always does on these. And I want to encourage everybody to sign up for Kim's free membership for Raising Conscious Kids and get all that wonderful information and resources that she has available there for you. All right. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you, Cherrise.
All right.